He got 2 in the chest.
A young man murdered in front of his childhood friend.
He just kept calling cuz. That's when he just shot it up.
Leaves detectives wondering if they're getting the whole story.
It should not be this hard.
She likes him, but then here again, she's with another dude.
Then,
Oh my gosh.
a man hanging out with his fiancée at home is shot in the head.
She said that she heard a gunshot. He slumped over.
But she claims she had nothing to do with it.
It's a magic bullet. Magic bullet.
If there is no evidence of a bullet coming through the wall, how would you think he would have been shot?
And the clock is ticking. For homicide detectives, their chance of solving a murder is cut in half if they don't get a lead within the first 48 hours. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 4:45 p.m. in the Valley View neighborhood on the north side.
This is so what's your emergency? I have a shooting victim. He's sitting in his vehicle. He got 2 in the chest and then arm and abdomen. Don't touch him, baby. Okay, I have an ambulance on the way. And the person that shot him's gone, right? Yes, ma'am. He walked up, he shot, and then he took off. He didn't run, he walked off. We're going to need to get him out of the vehicle if he's still in the vehicle. But we're going to do CPR until they get there. Okay. Lay him on the ground, then they're going to talk. That's true. I just watched him take his last breath.
Who got this case, Z? Yeah. Who is it? The victim? Kenneth Hardrick.
27-year-old Kenneth Hardrick graduated from Jenks High School and earned a degree in business management from Tulsa Community College. He leaves behind his fiancée, sister, and daughter.
Young. He shot multiple times. What caliber is it?
They're 9
The team recovers 7 9mm shell casings from the driveway.
He was in that car when he was killed. Obviously, the windows broke. Him and a girl that lives here are friends.
Responding officers interviewed Kenneth's friend, who was standing next to him when he was shot.
He did say you were going to need to go downtown and talk to the detectives. She said, I'm pregnant. I think y'all are putting my child at risk right now.
They let her go in the house and she hasn't come back out.
Wouldn't put it past the girl from being involved?
Detective Mike Zanoni goes in to see why the witness is being uncooperative. And she agrees to talk at homicide.
The witness has agreed to come downtown after a little bit of convincing. My gut tells me she's hiding something though.
While Detective Mike Zanoni takes Kenneth's friend down to homicide, the team searches for a witness.
You saw the dude. What happened?
He gotta be gang related. The gang incident that occurred at that same time.
Another shooting?
A neighbor claims a member of the Hoover Gang was recently shot at the same house by a Bloods gang member.
So that's probably what it is, man.
Okay. I'm going downtown. Let's go to work.
He's pissed
pissed now that she's up in this.
Back at Homicide,
Want something, candy bar or something?
Zanoni interviews Kenneth's friend, who is 6 months pregnant.
And Kenneth's not the baby dad, right?
No. And I was so big. My whole life. I called him and told him I was hungry. He told me he was coming.
So he shows up. Then what do you do?
You go to Stacy's Freeze.
Stay there.
We're there for like 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then we left, went back to the house. At first we sat on the porch for a minute. It was so quick. He walked up.
She says a man approached them in the yard.
You said the dude walk up from which way?
From the left side. You could tell he was on a mission, like he was angry or something, and he was like real sweaty, and he's like, "What you doing, cuz? What you doing, cuz?" And I'm like Kenny looks at me.
Where was Kenneth?
He was getting in the car. Kenny, he just went to shut his door.
She says the man turned as if to walk away.
Then see him pull a pistol, and he just.
Police Department. My neighbor just came and knocked on my door and asked me to call the ambulance.
Somebody's injured?
Yes. A bullet hit her boyfriend.
Okay, just all this happened?
Yes. I heard him breathing.
Okay, well, hold on the line.
Police and EMS respond and find a man inside an apartment with a gunshot wound to the head. They rush him into surgery, clinging to life.
I was at a search warrant time right up here. Evander Holyfield, right at this corner. And he gets a picture taken with like two of our targets.
20-year veteran Mark Biondolino worked narcotics and the DEA task force before joining Homicide 2 years ago.
He had something on the street before us. Because I remember sitting on surveillance right here. What's up, mister?
That's your victim, Charles Petty.
34-year-old Charles Petty, known to friends as Chuck, was recently engaged and is survived by his fiancée.
Is he dead?
No, they said he's death's imminent.
Inside Charles's apartment,
this is where our victim was.
first responders found Charles slumped over on the bed.
Pretty good chunks of brain blood and stuff on the bed here.
It's gonna be hard to look for in here. It's that dark.
Any shell casings?
Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Detectives recover a .32 caliber revolver.
That could do it.
It's a revolver, so there'd be no shell casing.
In a bedside drawer,
it's a .380.
Detectives find a Larson semi-automatic handgun.
There's a revolver under the mattress on the victim's side.
Is there a spent in there?
We haven't touched it.
Be nice there's empty.
Right.
Behind the hammer.
gang them.
The boyfriend of the 911 caller, who lives upstairs from the crime scene, checked on Charles while waiting for EMS.
Since you were down in the crime scene, we're going to have to take you downtown.
So the girl in Marcus's car is one morning.
Detectives turned to Charles's fiancée.
She said that she heard shot. He's some children. She come running up shooting before you get the police. And then the shooter's name is Kevin.
Ramonda claims their neighbor, Kevin, shot Charles.
Apparently for the last 2 to 3 days, he's been popping shots through that girl.
So he's just in there shooting for no reason?
Has somebody checked that apartment, make sure he ain't in there?
One of the neighbors said, yeah, hey, your shooter just ran out the back door, and it was gone.
A witness claims they saw someone flee the apartment on foot.
And they're going to take them down. We'll talk to them there.
As Ramonda and the upstairs neighbor are brought to homicide.
I'm just taking a look back here.
Detectives search the victim's apartment for a bullet hole through the wall.
What's that hole over there? That looks fresh, somewhat.
That's the only hole we see.
And Kevin lives. Is the room connected?
That's not connected.
So we'll go up and go around.
Detectives go into Kevin's apartment to look for bullet holes in the wall he shares with the victim.
I don't see it.
Detectives are unable to locate a bullet hole corresponding to the one found in the victim's wall.
I'm not saying you didn't shoot the guy, but it wasn't through that hole.
We got a little deception going on. I'm not convinced that thing went through a wall and then through his head.
As the team continues searching Kevin's apartment,
Katie, shell casing on the bed.
they find a .22 caliber shell casing.
Oh, that's the hole.
And find a second bullet hole. But the trajectory doesn't line up with the victim's apartment.
It's a magic bullet. Magic bullet.
As they continue working the scene, Detective Scott Saylor begins interviewing the upstairs neighbor.
He talked to you about what happened over at that house today. Was in the room, sleep. At first I thought I was like dreaming because like it was like boom, 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 ah. So I get up like, babe, somebody beating up the door.
He says Ramonda was screaming at his door.
They shot Chuck. They shot Chuck. They shot Chuck? That's what initially it was. So we steady saying, who? Now she was like, Kevin. Do you know it's Kevin? Yeah, the owner of the building, that's his daddy. She said they shot him in the head. Honestly, man, I ain't heard no shots. But they do have our altercations.
He claims Charles and Ramonda have a history of fighting.
You physically get into it, or? Yeah. Did she ever take in her hands when she came to the door? Did she had like 2 or 3 phones? Yeah, she never called 911. My girl called the police. My point was, like, why the didn't you call 911? Have you ever seen this Kevin with a gun before? I never saw him with a gun. To me, it's bull.
In the Tulsa homicide of 27-year-old Kenneth Hardrick, Detectives just learned his childhood friend saw the gunman pull the trigger.
Just walk off.
And you've never seen him here before?
No.
Okay, describe this guy.
He's black, he's tall, maybe a little bit of mustache. And he has a very structured face, like his bones in his face was, like plain as day.
How old do you think he was?
He looked older.
What kind of phone was that?
The Android.
That phone?
Zanoni asks to download her phone.
Check it before I give you the
I'm still not convinced that she's telling me the truth. It's just not adding up. I don't know why somebody would just walk up and kill this guy in her driveway. She's agreed to let me have her cell phone, have Nate download it, and see what we find out.
Showing it right now.
Corporal Nathan Schilling downloads the witness's phone.
You want to take her home, John Brown?
Get up. Still have no idea why this guy's been shot and killed. I want him to take a look at her cell phone and see if we can't pull some things out of there that lead us a little further on.
The next day, a tipster calls in with a major break in the case.
What's first name?
Co.
The tipster says Kenneth's friend knows the shooter, and he goes by the nickname Co.
And you've never seen him here before?
No.
A couple times.
Word on the street is Co has spent time in prison.
I'm trying to get as much information as I can.
Okay, bye.
She may have known who the shooter was. She's trying to hide that from us. Could be an ex-boyfriend, could be a jealous lover, but it's coming back on her now.
So does she get a phone call from him while they're in that time frame? Okay.
Detectives search the childhood friend's phone records for any communication with a man named Co.
He calls her for 6.5 minutes right before the murder.
So were there any angry texts from yesterday?
Yeah. He's jealous of who she's got over there, and she's trying to play down on anyone. She likes him, but then here again, she's with another dude. I think we want to probably run at our witness again.
Well, the issue is, when do we pick her up and hit her with what we know without burning our source?
Just find out when Z's ready to go, get the truth out of her.
With 7 hours left in the first 48.
Zanoni and I went and picked her up this morning. On the way down here, she says she wasn't totally honest with us.
Kenneth's childhood friend comes back to homicide.
So when we initially spoke, you were a little less than truthful, correct?
No, everything has to happen.
But
I just didn't say his name.
And left out some other stuff.
I don't know his real name.
How did he know you were there?
He called me, he said, hey, I'm gonna come see you, because like I said,
She admits Co called her just before the murder.
I was like, my friend's over here. he's about to go, and he's like, okay, he's like, I'm gonna be over there.
But he didn't say, I saw that some bitch.
No. I'm telling you, I'm so low. I don't know why he did it. I don't understand. He just got calling him cuz, and he was like, I'm a hoover. I'm known for knocking. I was standing in between them the whole time. I went push Kyle forward, you know, please. He didn't do nothing. We don't want no problems. That's when he just shot it up.
Was Cole pissed at Kenny because he was with you?
I don't know.
In the St. Louis murder investigation of Charles Petty, a witness says he never saw his neighbor Kevin with a gun.
But I'm trying to get you out as quick as I can.
Back at the crime scene.
There's nothing to indicate that a shot came through the wall whatsoever.
They use the rods to try to look at the trajectory. If you go to the bullet holes on the victim's side through the wall and you put them through, they don't come out to the suspect's side. I had to pull a section of wall away just to see where the rod went.
Now that we got everything documented, now we got to determine what's fact and what's fiction. We got to figure out, A, if any of those guns are involved, B, who was in possession of the gun when it went off. Right now, the girlfriend's, she's going to face some jeopardy.
The plot thickens.
With the victim still clinging to life at the hospital.
Amanda? How you doing, Detective Garrett? Let me know.
Why don't you just go ahead and explain to me what happened?
I got up, and as we were sitting there, I heard 2 gunshots. I ducked onto the floor, and I seen him lean over, so I thought maybe he ducked. But when I looked back up, I seen blood.
What did you do after that?
I ran upstairs, grabbed my phone. My phone didn't have no signal. I'm trying to get my phone to get a signal. I'm beating on my neighbor door. I'm screaming, Chuck got shot. The man downstairs shot him. He shot him through the wall.
You heard 2 gunshots?
In the house behind us, the man had been shooting in the house behind us for the last 4 days.
What do you mean he's just shooting at
Just shooting in his apartment.
So you think, what did they come through the ceiling, the walls? What do you...
No, I think he probably came through the wall.
Do you have any dealings with anybody where he's fighting?
No.
Anybody in that apartment besides you and him?
Just me and him.
There is no evidence of a bullet coming through the wall. How would you think he would have been shot?
Only thing I can think of is Mr. Ricochet. Give me a lie detector test. So I'm not lying about anything.
Do you own any firearms?
He does. He's the one up under my bed.
Have you ever touched them?
Yeah, just passing it to him, but firing them, I know. He been there for me. He asked me to marry him. This is the first I ever been proposed to.
We're going to get you out of here so you can get to the hospital. Just give me a couple minutes, all right?
Yes, sir.
She's saying Kevin shot him Kevin shot him had to come through the wall because she's adamant that nobody was in that apartment except her and him.
Do you think she killed him?
No, I don't think she killed him. Biondolino. Hey, Cal, those guns from up there in the victim's apartment, were they loaded, fired, anything like that?
Biondolino gets an update from the evidence technician unit on the 2 guns found in the victim's bedroom.
Gun in the dresser was loaded. There's nothing in the revolver.
Neither gun was recently fired.
I mean, she seems legit. Do we know who Kevin is?
I'm going to try to do a workup on him. Kevin Thomas. That's going to be him.
43-year-old Kevin Thomas has a prior conviction for unlawful use of a weapon.
I'm going to put him out as a contact and advise right now as person of interest, Sarge. Detective Biondolino.
8 hours in, Kevin's family calls in.
Have you been talking to him, like, all day today?
Kevin has been sending text messages claiming the police are looking for him and that he may hurt himself.
Can you send me the texts he sent you?
His relative says she is concerned about his mental state.
We got people that are trained to deal with individuals that are having these mental episodes. So, do you know where he's at right now?
They say they left Kevin at his sister's house.
When you were over there, did you see him with a gun or anything like that? Oh, yeah? What kind, you know?
And they believe he may be armed.
I think we could probably get him some help and get him out of there. Don't go back over there. All right, thank you. This is getting into meltdown mode for our guy, Kevin. Say, I'm gonna die, I got a gun, I'm like, the police are gonna come here. He wants to commit suicide over this incident.
The team heads out to try to get Kevin to turn himself in.
4214. We'll go up there. We have everything there if things to go a different direction.
It's just the other side of this apartment, on your right.
In the Tulsa homicide of Kenneth Hardrick, his childhood friend just admitted that she has a relationship with the shooter.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Not that I know of. He was so secretive with me. He wouldn't even tell me where he lived.
Well, I want to find out who Co is.
All he says is he works out in Mexicali. He's been working today. Ever since he's been out.
All right, I'm going to do some research.
Did the girl come off it?
Yeah.
Oh, she did?
Mm-hmm. I can't read these people for like freaking days. I don't trust her as far as I can fit.
Our next option is to go down to Mexicali, see if he's at work.
While Zanoni takes the witness home, Schilling and Detective John Brown head out, hoping to track down Co or learn his real name.
We're gonna go see if they've got anybody fitting that description that worked here, has worked here, and can give us a little information.
Yeah, I'm over here.
Detective John Brown questions the staff.
Guys have a good day?
But the owner says he doesn't have an employee fitting Coe's description.
Well, a little bit further than what we were yesterday, but not by much. I don't know what Z's plan is, but I'm out of ideas.
We need to figure out who Coe is. I'm going to send out a department-wide email requesting help. Hopefully somebody's come in contact with them in the past.
In the first 48, Tulsa Homicide responded to the murder of Kenneth Hardrict. Learned he was gunned down outside his childhood friend's house. Received a tip that Kenneth's friend is involved with the alleged shooter, nicknamed Coe. Interviewed the friend, who admitted to knowing Coe, but had been unable to find out his real name. The next day, a detective with the robbery unit calls in with a lead on Coe's real name.
Hey, Raru Caddy. He was from Quebec in May of this year. I'm just going to do the search warrant real quick.
"36-year-old Raru Caddy has prior convictions for burglary, possession of a firearm, and drug possession.
Last known working at this Olive Garden restaurant.
UPC?
Before the team can get a warrant on Raru Caddy, they need their witness to ID him as the shooter.
I want us to be there when she looks at it.
Later,
I just showed the witness a picture, and she positively identified Raru Caddy as being the person we're calling Coe. We get the warrant squad out looking for Raru at this point.
Later that afternoon,
the manager said he was at work. At that time, we took him into custody with that incident.
Hey, Raru, how are you? You know why you're down here?
No, sir.
The reason that you're here is because I'm going to arrest you for the murder of Kenneth.
I'm being arrested for a murder.
But identified as being the shooter. You want to make a statement?
No, sir.
Get these guys to get you out here as quick as possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Rough him up. Okay, can you stand up for me, please?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and turn around. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Much better.
Kenneth, he was just being nice to his friend. She was hungry, and he agreed to come over and take her out for lunch. And he gets gunned down. It's not going to bring him back, but hopefully solving this in such a timely fashion will give his family some closure.
in the St. Louis murder investigation of Charles Petty, the team just learned suspect Kevin Thomas may be armed and holed up at his sister's house.
He's talking to me through the door.
Detective Heather Sabin makes contact with Kevin. But but he refuses to come out.
Hey.
Kevin's family arrives, hoping they can convince him to surrender.
Or will you text him and tell him to come out? We have someone up there that's trained to talk to people, but if he sees you guys crying, if he sees you screaming and yelling, then that's going to cause him to react negatively.
Kevin's relative agrees to contact him.
Did he text back? What did he say?
He want me to come to the door.
Well, here. Stand right here.
I don't know which window we hit.
He's coming. He's coming! Now walk back over there. Let's take a look.
Inside.
.22 caliber handgun hidden in clothes bags. I'll go back and talk to Mr. Thomas.
Charlie still alive?
With Charles still clinging to life, Biondolino heads in to interview Kevin.
I'm Detective Biondolino, Detective Sabin. I know it may be difficult for you, but it's best for us just to lay it all out there so we can help you out, okay?
Yeah.
So, what happened down there this morning, over in Cottage at your apartment?
I can't remember.
You can't remember anything?
It's really hard for me to believe that you can't recall. There was a shell casing on your bed. Have you ever shot your gun inside your apartment?
Can't recall.
On accident or otherwise?
I know I picked it up off the ground because it fell. I heard shots.
And you heard shots?
And I left.
Do you think those shots came from your gun?
It might have. You know, I do a lot of things and I wake up, I can't recall me doing.
We took some stuff out of your sister's house. Took a handgun out of there.
It's not mine.
You recall sending some text messages to her that said, you know, I did something, the police are going to be looking for me, I'm not going away, I'm going to kill myself, do all these other kind of things. You remember those?
Yeah. You know, I'm bipolar, so, you know, I get paranoid.
Found the gun in your sister's apartment that was your gun. And we're going to compare that gun to the bullet that struck the victim. And then we'll know for sure. Does that make sense?
If it did match, then what?
We have to figure this out because somebody got hurt today, but we need to know what happened on your side of the wall. We're gonna step out, okay?
How much of the suspect's story do you believe?
Everybody says he has some mental incapacity, but he may be trying to play a game.
That afternoon,
I just talked with the circuit attorney. We'll present charges tomorrow. Mr. Thomas, he's going to be charged with assault first right now since the victim is still currently in the hospital, has not deceased. Armed criminal action and felon in possession of a firearm. He admits being in possession of that firearm. I believe that he's definitely responsible for the gun going off and the bullet hit the defendant and killed him. It looks obvious from our standpoint that it's a pattern of behavior from, this witness, that this has been going on routinely the last few weeks of him firing these guns.
Gavin, stand up for me, bud.
Day.
Detective Biandelino, homicide.
A call comes in from the medical examiner's office.
Okay, thank you. We were just advised that Mr. Petty has passed away, so it's a full-fledged murder now. Don't normally get calls where our victims are just sitting on the corner of their bed with their loved one or significant other and shot for no other reason than a stray bullet, for lack of a better terms, comes through the wall. Now we'll work to make sure you get justice for the victim and his family on this end.